Okay, good evening, members of the public, members of council and staff to the December 21st Committee of Adjustment meeting. Can I get someone to call the meeting to order? Moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Mayor Prevost. All those in favor? Meeting is open. Can I get approval of the agenda as presented? Moved by Councillor Lang, second by Councillor McDonnell. All those in favor? Agenda is carried. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the December 7th meeting? Okay, can I get approval, mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Jaworski, second by Councillor Lang for the approval of the minutes of December 7th. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, moving on to number 5A-4120, Berryman. Mrs. Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, sorry, one moment, please. Just need to open my application here. Okay, so can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Excellent. Sorry for the delay. So welcome to our December 21st Committee of Adjustment meeting. Before we get started, I'll just review some rules for the members of the public that are participating. For those of you who wish to participate, you'll be permitted to speak to your respective application following my presentation. Prior to speaking, we request that you please state your name and address for the record. If you're participating by Zoom, you're welcome to use the raise hand function and the chair will call upon you. If you have registered to participate in the meeting by phone, to speak to a particular application, you will be asked if you would like to comment on the application after the applicable presentation. So I will be required to read wording under the Ontario Planning Act, so I'll get started on that. This is a hearing under Section 44 of the Ontario Planning Act. Any person may attend this hearing and or make written or verbal representation either in support of or in opposition to the proposed minor variance. If a person or public body does not make oral or written submissions at this hearing before the minor variance is decided upon, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the minor variance of the Committee of Adjustment to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, also known as LPAT. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a hearing or make written submissions to the Committee of Adjustment before the minor variance is decided upon, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the LPAT unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So we'll get started with our first application this evening, which is known as A4120. This property is located at part of Lot 8 and 9, Concession 1, in the geographic township of Lancaster, now in the township of South Glengarry. It's located on 149th Avenue. It does not have a civic number as it's a vacant parcel of property. This is a location of the property, and you can see this is Old Highway 2 at the top of the screen, and it's just on the west side of 149th Avenue. So the purpose of the minor variance is the applicant proposes to construct a single detached dwelling and a detached residential garage within the watercourse setback. So the following relief is requested. To reduce the watercourse setback from 30 meters to 15 meters to the proposed single detached dwelling and to 24.5 meters to the proposed detached residential garage. So the property owner retained an Ontario land surveyor to obtain a topographical survey. So the survey revealed that the subject property, majority of it is above the floodplain and therefore developable. We actually had a couple of pre-consultation meetings with the applicant and the RSEA to review different options for the property, review the topographical survey, and made sure that we could support development in this location and that there was an adequate building envelope. The subject property is 0.66 acres in size and is proposed to be serviced by a septic system and a well. The property owner has done their research and has engaged a septic system designer to ensure that there's space for the system, the building envelope, and the required setbacks. In fact, this is a decent sized property for our waterfront area, being more than a half an acre. So there wasn't a lot of restrictions in this location. And the property is designated residential district in the county official plan, and the application conforms to the general intent of the official plan. The property is zoned floodplain holding and conforms to the general intent of the zoning bylaw. If the minor variance is approved this evening, the next step for the applicant would be to go through the removal of holding process. And then the last comments is we've circulated the application to applicable municipal staff, and the planning and building department have no concerns with the application. As I mentioned, the RSEA was very involved in pre-consultation meetings, completed a property inquiry, and reviewed the topo survey. I've not received formal comments to date, but I did touch base with them today just to make them aware, remind them that it was on the agenda this evening, and they had no concerns. I just don't have anything formal in writing as of yet. I think everybody's really busy and coming down to the crunch with the holiday times. And I've not received any phone calls with questions or no public comments to date. So let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Haley. Are there any questions of the committee members? I can't see Ms. Jaworski. There she is. All right, and we have 3 attendees here. Mr. Berryman is online. Does he have anything to add? Not sure. Yep. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Berryman.
Yes, hello?
Yes.
Hello. Okay, sorry about that. Hello, everybody, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councillor, Mr. Deputy Mayor. No, the presentation was very well done. Thank you, Ms. Haley. Looking forward to moving forward on this project.
All righty. Thank you very much. Seeing that there is no other hands up, can I get a mover to move the motion? Okay, Councillor McDonnell, second by Mayor Prever to approve as presented. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to A-4220, Ramon. Mrs. Haley.
Thank you. So this property is located at part of Lot 4, Concession 2, north of the Reason River, in the geographic township of Charlottenburg, now in South Glengarry, and is also known as 20212 Cedar Grove Road. So I have a few maps that I would like to show you. So this is the subject property. You can see at the top of my screen, this is Cedar Grove Road, and the parcel of property is divided by what we call the peanut line. So the township of South Glengarry owns the peanut line. So we have a portion that's on the south side of Cedar Grove Road, but on the north side of the peanut line, and then a much larger portion on the south side of the peanut line. Here's another aerial view where you can see in this location, this is where their existing yard is, existing barns. Here's the manure pit. And then you can see the peanut line in this location. And so now I'm going to discuss what the purpose of the minor variance is. And there appears to be a lot of different minor variance requests, but it just is what was triggered with the minimum distance separation calculation. So for the people who don't understand what minimum distance separation is, it's a term that's created by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs and Housing, or I shouldn't say in housing, I'm sorry, and food. And what is required is anytime a property owner or a farmer is proposing to expand or create a manure storage facility or expand or construct a new barn, they are required to complete a minimum distance separation calculation to determine what their setbacks should be to the nearest dwellings, as well as to property lines. So I'm going to go through all of the different requests. So the first portion of the minor variance is to reduce the minimum distance separation to setback from the proposed expanded manure storage facility from 368 meters to the following dwellings: to 250 meters at 20150 Cedar Grove Road, 180 meters at 20153 Cedar Grove Road, 165 meters at 20207 Cedar Grove, 155 at 20229 Cedar Grove, and to 170 at 20258 Cedar Grove Road. We're also looking to reduce the minimum distance separation to setback from the proposed expanded manure storage facility from 30 meters to 6 meters to the rear lot line, which is the north side of the peanut line. And then also to reduce the minimum distance separation to setback of 210 meters from the proposed dairy barn to 184 meters to the closest dwelling located at 20258 Cedar Grove Road. To reduce the minimum distance separation to setback of 21 meters from the proposed dairy barn to 11 meters, which is the closest lot line, which is the south side of the peanut line. And then lastly, to reduce the front yard setback from 15 meters of the proposed dairy barn to 11 meters. And in this case, the front yard setback happens to be the portion that's on the south side of the peanut line, simply because the peanut line is a different ownership owned by the township. The applicant has provided a really detailed map that helps understand where everything is proposed. So I'm going to review this with you. This brownish color area is the manure pit, including the expansion. The bright yellow area is the location of the proposed new dairy barn. And then you can see the points identified A through to E, which would reflect the nearest, or the dwellings that would be closest to the proposed manure pit, as well as the dwelling that's closest to the proposed barn. And then from here, you can see where it's proposed to be located on the south side of the peanut line. And I'm going to show you another drawing. This is also done by the consultant, where they outline all of the existing structures on the subject property. You can see in the middle, this is the peanut line. And right here, as I mentioned, is the existing manure storage pit. However, they're expanding it to a final dimension of 80 meters by 30 meters, as opposed to previously it was 80 meters by 24 meters. So that is proposed. And then you'll see in this location the proposed dairy barn with the milk house to the south. So I know it's a lot of information to look at, but these maps are very, very useful when you're processing an application like this. The property is designated agricultural resource in the county official plan and conforms to the general intent of the official plan. And it's zoned agriculture and conforms to the general intent of the zoning bylaw. So these applications were circulated to applicable municipal staff. Planning and building have no concerns. I also consulted with our general manager of infrastructure services to confirm the permissions will be granted to cross the peanut line for access to the proposed barn and to install a pipe to pump for the manure storage pit. And the general manager had no concerns with this, and it indicated that similar permissions have been granted in the past to other farmers along the peanut line. And I've received no phone calls or questions or comments to date. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I do believe the consultant is also on the meeting this evening, who prepared the calculation and the nice maps that were provided. So I'm sure if there's something that I can't answer, I'm sure Alan Krezel can. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Haley, for the detailed report.
Yeah.
It's nice to capture everything under one application if possible. Are there any questions of the committee? I have one question, but is there any other questions? Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I don't like, for what the variances are being requested for, I don't have any issue there. I mean, I think it's great that this is a business that wants to expand. My question though is about it, and maybe it's not really under the scope of committee of adjustment, but it has to do with the permissions for crossing the peanut line. because I mean, it seems now, you know, that there's a historical crossing, but my understanding is that it's never been formally defined as to what size it is. It's actual, I mean, it's, you can see it, but you know, the actual extent of it, and if we're going to, if there's going to be infrastructure that's going underneath it, and if, you know, we've talked many times about revitalizing the peanut line, like it seems to me like there should be something more formal on where that, I don't know, for lack of a better term, is it easement, is it right of way, how that should be defined, because it doesn't, my understanding from talking with the GM of infrastructure is there is no formal agreement put in place for, or nor has there been in the past for other projects that cross the peanut line.
Okay.
Ms. Haley?
I'll do my best to comment on this question. And as you know, based on my presentation, I have consulted with Mr. McDonald on this, and I understand what you're saying, and it doesn't mean to say that we can't do something formal. At the time of the building permit issuance, we can work with Mr. McDonald to see if we can have something in writing to define the proposed access, where the pipe is going to go. Just because it hasn't been done in the past doesn't mean it can't be done moving forward. I know there's definitely examples within one of our bylaws, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say the correct name of it, but council will recall it's a bylaw where we deal with permissions to do site alteration, tree removal on unopened road allowances or along road allowances. We can look to see if that bylaw will apply in this case. And if so, there's examples in that bylaw on how we can enter into an agreement, but we can certainly have those discussions. I appreciate you saying that, you know, it maybe not necessarily part of the meeting tonight, but I think it's a very valid point, because if the committee chooses to approve this application this evening, you're really, you know, setting up the intent that the access is going to be granted. And that's why we did do the consultation with Mr. McDonald to ensure that it wasn't going to be an issue.
Yeah, because I mean, this is more than, you know, crossing for, you know, a few field activities throughout the year. This is going to be very, I mean, my understanding is the milk truck will be going across, so it's like heavy use. So I think in terms of maintaining the crossing and the condition of the peanut line, there probably be some language around that required.
Okay.
Yeah, just I'll say my question before I go to Councillor Lang and then Councillor McDonnell. Yeah, that is my concern as well. Is just do they have legal access to cross that, and does that have any implications to issuing the building permit without an easement to cross there? I understand that they have. I mean, technically they have legal right away, but at the south end, you know, so. I think this should be looked into further. I'm fully in support of the application, but I think we need to formalize something in regards to the peanut line. And I also think that there should be language in there that they're not allowed to block the peanut line. You know, that would be a concern. And maybe there's there's something else that we can work with the landowner too, and some other arrangement or something.
Okay.
I'll move on. So. That's kind of my comments. I'll move on to Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you've covered quite a bit of what I was, my concerns were. I'm in support of this application as far as all of the minimum distance. I have no problem passing that, but I would like to see something in place as far as the peanut line. The property to the east of that has quite a bit of tree cover. I know in using the peanut line with snowmobiles and so forth, there might be some issues with sightline. I think we just need to look at things, make sure it's good. I know we have numerous crossings of the peanut line for people to access the other side. I don't know of any others where we're actually allowing them to put in a pipe to pump manure across the peanut line. Maybe we are, but I don't know of any. And I think we want to have a close look at this. The manure pit is going to be approximately 6 meters from the peanut line, or from our property edge. Is it going to continue to be an earthen pit, or are they upgrading and putting in a concrete manure storage? Just some questions that I have. I don't think it's for committee of adjustment at this meeting. I suspect that's not what we're here to deal with, but maybe council should be looking at this in the same time frame so that we can make sure everything's addressed when they get the building permit. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I guess, yeah, all my concerns were addressed. I guess the only comment I was going to make was that I know, and Councillor Lang would know as well, you basically, with the milk board, you do sign, or you basically agree that you will maintain your driveway as if it were a road. So I wouldn't be concerned as far as quality of the laneway, because the milk truck does have the right to decline going up the laneway if he doesn't feel safe driving it. So sight lines, yeah, I think we should look at. I did ask my father about this, because as I think I made it clear, we have quite a bit of property that has the peanut line running through it. And it was to our understanding that it's either a formal right of way or a formal easement every 100-acre farm has along the peanut line. Whenever it was gone through, that was in the deal when they sold the land. If I'm not, but it'd be good to confirm that. But that's our understanding as similar landowners.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good point, Councillor McDonnell. Mrs. Haley?
I do have a suggestion, Mr. Chair. If the committee is thinking about recommending this to be approved, we can approve it with a condition, and you can put a condition in that would state something to the effect of that the applicant secure a formal agreement with the Township of South Glengarry for a defined, access traversing the peanut line. And then if you put that in, then we won't be able to issue a building permit until that's achieved. And I know the farmer was anxious to get started, but maybe then we can work with Mr. McDonald to come up with a way to look at kind of defining that entrance that you've just stated and discussed, and for the reasons why, because it is important.
I like that idea, and I do think that it is something that is important, and I think it needs to be addressed. And then everybody's on the same page, and it's clearly spelled out. So I like that suggestion, and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to approve on condition of the formalizing an easement agreement with the Township of South Glengarry.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I don't want to call it an easement, because an easement is
Sure.
created by Planning Act consent.
Okay.
But maybe just not to be, maybe be a little less formal, so we're not having to go through that Planning Act consent process.
So
where
we
we
put it
would
conditional
define
upon,
access.
yeah, conditional upon signing in what is it, an access agreement or something to that effect.
Sure.
Glengarry.
I just,
Councillor McDonnell.
through you, Mr. Chair, I just suggest that, yeah, like I say, I'm fairly confident that, or I know the guys I had spoken with were fairly confident that there is a formal agreement. Whether it's still honored by the township after the sale of the peanut line, I don't know. But if it was an easement, it would have been defined in the sale, I would imagine. So that would just be, I wouldn't want to say put in, like, ask for the condition of an easement. I would just, yeah, define what we have already, and if not, let's sign something that is a little more formal than a handshake.
And I think it'll protect the applicant as well as the municipality. I'm going to open the questions up to the applicant or Mr. Cazell. I see you're on line here. If you would like to add anything to this discussion before we go to a vote, you can raise your hand if you'd like. I think you're live now, sir.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the Riemann family, I'd like to thank you for entertaining the application this evening. We don't have anything further to add. I'm sure Mr. Riemann will be agreeable to some kind of an arrangement with the township to ensure safe use of the peanut line by all the residents of the township, as well as themselves getting back and forth.
100%. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Haley, would you read that before we go to a vote, how you have it worded, please?
Sure. I just need one more minute, if you don't mind. I'm just finishing the sentence.
No problem at all.
I think I have too many words in here.
So how about the weather today?
Okay. So what I've drafted is the approval would be conditional upon signing an access agreement with the Township of South Glengarry to ensure permissions to traverse the peanut line to access the proposed dairy barn, as well as to install adequate infrastructure to access the manure storage facility. I have 3 access words in there. I might need to clean it up a little bit, but does that meet the intent of the committee?
I believe so.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go for a vote. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Jaworski, second by Councillor McDonnell. All those in favor as the application? Application is approved with the condition of the wording what we just said.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll clean that up and then make sure that it's properly reflected in the decision in the minutes when we meet again.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Okay, so number 7 is next meeting, January 18th. Mrs. Haley, is that we have a couple already on the go?
It's definitely written in stone because I've received 1 application. I will only have 1 simply because we had to establish a cutoff with Christmas coming. And we're proposing that our Committee of Adjustment meeting starts at 6 p.m. with a public meeting at 6:30 p.m. for a zoning amendment. So the applications haven't slowed down over Christmas.
That's okay. That means development. So,
yes.
All right. So can I get someone to adjourn this meeting so we can get on to our other one? Moved by Mayor Prevost, second by Councillor Jaworski. Meeting is adjourned at